Hey everyone, I'm out on the back deck and I'm about to make some gardening choices that I'm not sure if they are bad or good choices yet, but we're gonna do it anyway and we'll see what happens. So basically I've decided in the last couple days that I cannot live with how my bed with the zinnias, well the zinnia tree now covered in powdery mildew looks. I don't know if I'm gonna pull it yet because I'll show you the blooms still look fine, but I need to add some stuff in. However, the stuff I got, most of it looks good. Some of it looks, well, like it was on sale, which it was. So I'll show you what I have as well to add in, but I'm just gonna put some plants in places and see what happens. So this is the bed on the left. I mean, honestly, when I look through the camera, it's not bad. I think because in my head, I knew how it looked before the powdery mildew destroyed all the leaves on the lower half of the branches, and it's still on the top ones. And yes, I still am spraying once a week or after it rains, but it's just been hard to get this under control. But you can see the flowers, I mean, they still look good and they still look pretty in bouquets when I harvest them. But to me, I mean, one, I might just pull the zinnias anyway at some point in the next week or two, and I just want to fill in some holes here. So that's the plan for this bed. Not sure if I'm going to remove anything. I'm going to try to add some things. This bed back here has the exact same plants in it. For some reason, I just feel like the zinnias don't look quite as terrible. There's a sunflower stalk in there in case I need to stake some things up, but I think I'm going to add at least one plant here as well, just because, again, I feel like some of these plants might not have much longer. So let me show you what I grabbed. It was just kind of on a whim, and I didn't really plan, but I have them now anyway. So we went to Home Depot, I think it was the same night when I started to prune a lot of those zinnias, and I just grabbed some stuff. So I grabbed these two celosias here. Let's see if they have an actual variety name. I feel like Home Depot is kind of iffy with, how's the celosia, dragon's breath. So this one is an annual. I just picked it because I like the color, although no, I'm not sure if it's too bright and bold for back here. So these will be the last two plants that I do or do not add in. But then also at Home Depot, I got two of these echinacea. Let's see, this one says echinacea, yay, coneflower. I don't think it has a specific variety on here, but I have two of these that I'm going to put in there. I also need to prune off some of the flowers. And then I got this one, which is also a coneflower. It was on sale. What I liked about it was the height of the flowers already, because that's what I like about the zinnias, is they're so tall, they peek over the wall. And this was the only tall plant I saw. I only got one because there's only one there. But like the flowers itself don't look that great. Like I said, this one was on sale. So I don't know if I'm going to, well, I'm going to plant it. I don't know if I'm going to remove the flowers now and hopefully more flowers bloom, or what I'm going to do, or if this was a bad decision, but I am past the point of caring. So what I'm going to do is, I think, just start planting, probably with this bed first. I feel like this is always what happens with me, at least at the end of the season. You know, early on in the season, very much into planning how I want things to look, where I'm going to plant things, and then by the end of the season, one, because there's not a lot of time left anyway, so if I do something terrible, it's not like I'm stuck with it for the whole garden season. Although, anytime you plant anything, if you don't like it, even if it's doing well, just remove it, that's fine. But also, I'm just kind of past the point of caring. Like, things are dying, I still want things in those places, so we're going to see what happens. And if this fails, well, then I've learned something for next year. So let's go ahead and start planting. I think I'm going to start with the giant echinacea in this back corner. So I'm probably going to dig the hole first and then put the plant in here. But I don't know if I've mentioned this before. I don't actually have a lot of tools. I think I have one like trowel, and then I have one, I can't remember the actual name, but basically the thing that looks like a fork, because in containers you really can just do everything by hand. So I'm just going to dig a hole with my hands, estimate it to be about the size. I need to pull this root ball from the zinnia I removed and toss. So let's get this one in there. Yeah, I'm not really sure how many more blooms it has this season. I mean, typically coneflowers for us can bloom through September, but this one just looks a little, I don't know, not too happy, but it is fine. No, oh, it's very root bound, so that might be why it's not too happy. So I'm just gonna break these apart. So hopefully it'll be happier now that it's planted. Also making a mess, but that's why I have a broom and a dustpan. Probably something most people don't have if they're not deck gardening is a broom and a dustpan, but I use them, well, I was gonna say every day. Every day I remember to actually come out and clean. All right, and I'm gonna add another one of the smaller echinaceas under here. I'm trying to remember if I pulled anything from here. Is there an aster here? Maybe there's an aster here that I pulled because it seems like there's a lot more space than I would normally leave between plants. This one is much less root bound. Not root bound really at all. In fact, I can probably take some of the soil off and pop that down in there. Oh, I think I'm gonna like that. All right, well, I planted the bed. I don't think I actually made things better, but I don't think I made things worse. So let me show you what it's looking like right now. All right, I plopped the smaller echinacea right there. And I mean, I think that looks like cute and fine in there. The aster right there, the zinnias, and now I have the taller echinacea back here, which still looks pretty sad. Again, it was very root bound in the container, so I'm hoping this bounces back. I already watered this in, so hopefully that'll look a little bit better in the next couple days. I don't know, we'll see. But there are plants, I can always remove them if I need to, and you know what, maybe I'll just be tired of it and completely empty out these beds. And now I'm going to go to the bed at the other end and plant my last echinacea. Alright, and I'm going to take this echinacea and plant it between this aster and this zinnia. Oh, I just found some eggs of something. Let's take you off of here. Ooh. So that is what's on leaves of the aster. I think I only found 3, but I'm going to do a closer look. See, this is why gardening takes so long, because you go to do one thing and then you find like 5 other things that you have to deal with. So let's toss these in the garbage. There also appears to be scale on these asters. So I'm actually not sure if it's worth saving them at all and trying to treat them, or just pulling them completely. But I guess I'll get the echinacea in here first and then see where my mood takes me. Well, here's what this bed looks like now. Again, not sure if it's any better, but I don't think it's worse. So I ended up using some sunflower stakes to straighten the zinnias up. I pulled one aster that I replaced with the celosia because that aster was definitely stunted, had more of the eggs and scale. This one also had some, but not as bad. And there's a bunch of blooms that look like they're just about to open, so I didn't want to pull that one yet. And then I put the other echinacea right in here. So I don't know if this was really worth replanting all of those. Maybe I should just take everything out and either, well, I do think I'm going to do bulbs in October, but I don't know. But this is gardening sometimes, where you're like, I don't really know if what I'm doing is actually going to improve my garden or not. But we'll see how these plants do, I guess. But just to show you something that I do think is looking pretty right now is this corner with the morning glory that hasn't bloomed at all this season, but it still looks pretty, trailing up and over, especially in front of the door. And this Bright Lights Horizon osteosperma is just absolutely beautiful right now. So these kind of open and close throughout the season. I do have some time throughout the season where there's no blooms and then they open up, but this one was out front and I cut it really far back because it had gone leggy from not enough sun. And I think it looks really pretty. I also like it in between the Bidens and the feverfew there. So yeah, at least not everything is looking terrible in the garden. Also still loving the leaves on this peppermint patty Burgania. And honestly, if you stand this far back, I mean, you can see some bare leaves on that zinnia there, but it looks pretty good from this distance. So I think that's going to be everything for this video. I don't know if anything was helpful, but if it wasn't helpful, hopefully it was entertaining, at least. So yeah, I do think, I mean, at this point in the garden, I just kind of stopped checking for pests, especially as the plants get larger, which I probably shouldn't do, but there's not enough hours in the day to do everything that I want to do. So when I find a pest like that, I'm just kind of like, I mean, I'll remove the leaves and maybe I'll spray some neem oil on the aster that's left. I'll continue trying to spray the powdery mildew to see if that does anything, but if not, I'm just going to rip all of those out probably before we leave at the end of September. But yeah, I think that's everything. You know, I don't know if I showed you the cosmos up close because those look really pretty now too. These are the cupcake blush cosmos that I started from seed indoors from Johnny's Seed. And so interesting. I mean, it looks pretty. I did plant 3 different cosmos in here. The flowers you see are all from one plant. So on the right here, this one never bloomed at all yet. There are now buds on it, which is good, so it should be blooming at some point soon. I know it looks like it's all part of one plant, but it's not. There are 2 different plants here, and it's just interesting how plants, the same plant in the same planter, same environment, grows so differently. So the one with the flowers was much more like wispy, and the one without the flowers is much more dense and grew faster. And then there was one in this corner back here that never really grew past 12 inches. It was the first one to bloom, but then it just kind of stopped and it got taken over by the asters in front. So I did pull that one. I think one thing I have learned, which I think I already knew and just ignored, is I don't need as many plants as I think. But also what makes me nervous about the cosmos is I know other people have had issues with theirs blooming, so what if I planted, you know, all 3 here and none of them bloomed? So I don't know. All right, now I think that's everything for this video. So I will keep you updated on how things do. I mean, there's going to be a September garden tour coming up here really soon, so I guess you'll see how things are looking. And that's going to be it. Let me know if you are having issues in the garden, just to make me feel a little bit better, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.